Guys, super pumped to be talking with you today. It's January 3rd, 2019. This is a great time to talk about the economy and the fact that when the economy collapses, we do not know what is going to happen to the agile coaching market because the agile coaching market has existed almost entirely since 2009, and we haven't had a major recession or stock market drop in that period of time. So since then, what we've had is a quintuple boom that has supported the coaching market. This is what I mean by that. So the very first boom that we've had is an economic boom since the global financial crisis of 2008 to 2009. So we've had positive GDP growth every single year in the United States since 2009. Inside of that economic boom, we've had a stock market boom. So we've had uninterrupted bull market since that 2009 drop. And then inside of that stock market boom, we've had a tech stock boom. So in 2006, 2011, there was only one tech company amongst the five largest companies in the world. Today, the five largest companies are Apple, Microsoft, Google, Amazon, Facebook. They're all tech companies. So inside of the stock market boom, we've had a huge tech stock boom. And of course, most coaches or many coaches are in the tech space. Inside of that tech boom, we've had an agile boom. Agile has become a thing. Being a scrum master has become a thing. It's become a recognized job title at hundreds or thousands of companies. And then inside of that agile boom, there's been an agile coaching boom. So Lisa Atkins' book, which essentially defined agile coaching for the masses, was published in 2010. And so all of us agile coaches have benefited massively from this agile coaching boom, inside of the agile boom, inside of the tech stock market boom, inside of the stock market boom, inside of the economic boom. And so my view is that the success of the vast majority of agile coaches is largely due to this quintuple boom. It's the old story of the rising tide lifts all boats. And so when this ends, and I certainly don't know when it is going to end or why it is going to end, but we all know that it's going to end, I think that the bottom is going to fall out of the agile coaching market. So I'm going to say that I know it's what it's like not to have any money, and I don't recommend it. So until the age of 10, my father was a graduate student and a postdoc. When I was a graduate student, I made $16,000 a year. My father somehow raised a family of four on a graduate student and postdoc salary. When I was about 7, we moved from St. Paul, Minnesota to Baltimore in these big U-Hauls. My parents loaded them up, brought a bunch of food. But along the way, we actually stopped at a roadside diner. And that was the very first time in my life that I had ever gone to a restaurant. So this is the future that I see for myself, where I have to watch my restaurant budget. And that's very, very different from the experience that I've had as an agile coach over the last decade. And so I'm thinking about what I can do to become more agile and more adaptive as the world changes. And I'm going to share my thoughts with you. I also, of course, lived through the dotcom bubble. I wasn't an agilist at that time. I was a hiring manager at a startup in Cambridge, Massachusetts. So you see from this chart, the NASDAQ dropped almost 80% from its peak in 2000 to its bottom in 2002. That was absolutely devastating for the technology, media, and telecom markets. And when I was in Cambridge, Massachusetts, hiring for a startup, I can tell you that I got Harvard and MIT graduates at $2,000 to $3,000 a month because they were having their job offers rescinded by the top companies in the world. So during a market collapse, the best people from the best universities can't get jobs, even after they've been offered jobs by the best companies in the world. It's absolutely brutal what happens. So here are a few questions that I would ask of myself, and that I'm asking of myself, and that I'm sharing with you. So number one is, what is the truck factor of your income? So we're all familiar with the truck factor in the software development, agile software development context, right? It's how many people can be run over by a truck before the capability of the group declines significantly. I'm applying the same concept here to your income. So can one person reduce your income by 50%? So if you're a full-time agile coach and you work at a company, the answer here is almost certainly yes, because your boss or your boss's boss can eliminate your position and your income will drop by 50%. So my recommendation for myself and for you is to think about how to increase the truck factor of your income over the coming months. My personal goal is for the truck factor to be 3 when it comes to reducing my income by 50%. So I want 3 different people to have to make a negative decision about the work that I'm doing before my income drops by 50%. Here's another question for you. Who is on your team? So this is a standard Agile question, standard Scrum question. It's a great question to ask about your professional life and also your personal life, your financial life. I'm going to ask some really hard questions here because I think they're really important. Who would lend you $10,000? What happens if you get laid off or your income drops significantly and you're not able to pay your mortgage or your rent? How many people are there on your team who would lend you the $10,000 that you need to pay your rent over the next 6 months or year? And if you couldn't pay your rent and you had to move out, who would let you crash at their house for 3 months? I know that these are not easy questions, but this is the sort of question that I'm asking myself. And before then, who would vouch that you are an extraordinary coach? When I was a hiring manager during the 2001-2003 dotcom crash, every time I put up a job ad on Monster, I got 500 to 1,000 resumes. It's really, really difficult to compete in a market where everyone is getting laid off and there are virtually no job openings. So it's not enough to have the experience. It's not enough to have the certifications. You need people on your team who are willing to say that you're an extraordinary coach. Where are you pimping your assets? This is a great phrase that I got from a friend of mine who was a partner at Heidrick & Struggles. And she had an executive coach. And she was at that time driving an S-Class Mercedes. And the executive coach asked her, what is the value of this Mercedes to you? Is it helping you get clients? Is it making you feel safer? What is it doing for you? And what my friend decided was that she was pimping her assets and she didn't need to be driving around in an S-Class. And so she downscaled to a BMW 3 Series. It's January 3rd right now. So in the United States, we're about a month away from the Super Bowl. During this month, there are going to be all sorts of ads for big screen TVs. A 65-inch big screen TV costs $1,000. If you've had a successful 2018, $1,000 is something that you can afford. But I'm here to tell you this. If the economy collapses, you're going to look at the 65-inch monitor and you're going to say, I wish I had those $1,000 back. So if you're an Agile coach at this time, my suggestion to you is that you not spend money. Invest money, but don't spend it. Save it for a rainy day or invest it in yourself. So it's all about humility and self-awareness. Are we humble with respect to the fact that our success comes from the quintuple boom? And are we self-aware? Next question is, what else can you do besides being an Agile coach? Now, I never ask trick questions, but this is actually going to be a trick question for you. But I'm telling you in advance, so it's not a trick question. What else can you do? What were you doing before you became an Agile coach? Were you a tech lead? Did you run a small business? What else can you do? Do you have a cousin who has a manufacturing plant and you can go be a junior manager there? What else can you do besides being an agile coach? And now here's the trick part of the trick question. If you can do anything else, think about doing that instead of agile coaching. Because at virtually every company today, an agile coach is a nice to have instead of a must have. So the only people who are going to be happy and healthy when the economy collapses, when the stock market boom collapses, when the agile boom collapses, are the people who can't think of anything else to do. They absolutely have to be agile coaches. They would suffocate if they weren't agile coaches. But if you, even for a microsecond, said, hey, I could go back to doing something else, think seriously about doing that instead of agile coaching. Because agile coaching is a nice to have almost everywhere. And so it's an incredibly fragile spot to be in when the economy collapses. Here's my final question for you. We know that there's going to be an economic collapse, a stock market drop, a bear market, a drop in the agile market at some point. We don't know when, we don't know why, but it's certainly going to happen. What can you do to be positively correlated with a market collapse? What business offerings can you create or can you share with clients so that they will be more likely to buy from you when the economy is collapsing, when the stock market is collapsing? Those are going to be the huge winners in the agile space. People who know the answer to that question and can start developing and sharing those products today are the ones who are going to grab market share and grab revenue dollars when the economy collapses. This has been a lot of fun sharing this with you. Feel free to reach out to me.